Thank you for joining us for the 2021 MHSAA Officials, Awards, and Alumni Banquet. Unfortunately, we're not able to be together to celebrate this time with officials around the state of Michigan. But we are happy that we can bring you this virtual opportunity so that we can still honor and recognize officials across the MHSAA. Service Award winners' pictures will come at the end of this presentation, and all recipients' names can be found on our website. And now we're going to turn it over to Mary Paulson to introduce this year's Randy Paulson Legacy Official Scholarship Award winner.
Hi, I'm Mary Paulson. The Randy Paulson Memorial Legacy Scholarship is presented each year to a senior who is part of the Legacy program. Randy was an official for 30 years when he died suddenly of a massive heart attack. I contacted Mark Ewell after Randy's death and worked with him to create this scholarship to give back to the Legacy Mentor program. This scholarship would not be possible without the help of Mark Ewell and the MHSAA. Randy enjoyed officiating basketball, softball, and baseball from elementary rec leagues to college games. Randy enjoyed all aspects of the sport as a player, coach, official, and spectator. He loved passing on his love of sports and knowledge of the game to kids, and the Legacy program provided that outlet. Randy worked with his mentor and passed on the qualities he felt were important in being a good official. Those included doing your best, being fair and impartial, good sportsmanship, being on time, dressing correctly, handling yourself in a tough situation, having fun, and knowing the rules of the game. Randy felt it was important to be outgoing and talk to the players, coaches, and fans. A sense of humor also helped. Randy was always willing to lend a hand and to give back. The Legacy program gave him that opportunity. While reading through the scholarship applications, I looked for the qualities that were important to Randy. I was impressed by this year's applicants. It was a tough decision. I am pleased to present the Randy Paulson Memorial Legacy Scholarship to Bayley Millerov.
So receiving this award kind of just, I don't know, it makes me feel, I don't even know how to really word it. There's no real words to explain how I feel receiving this award. I'm very grateful. I'm very thankful as well. But I'm also glad that, like, well, I'm also very, like I said, there's no real words to explain how gratified I am to receive this award. My father, he's been an official for about 10 years maybe, I don't know, a long time. And he kind of started doing it because we were in the USA swimming, and he became a USA official. And then when he basically decided to become a high school official, because I was moving up, and they were short officials, so he became a high school official. And he did that for a couple of years, and then when he, then basically when I came of age, he just told me, like, hey, there's this Legacy program, do you want to become official? I'm like, sure, it'd be so much fun. And sure enough, I took the course, and it was fun, and I enjoyed every second of it. Well, like I said, I'm very grateful to be receiving this award. I think it's a huge honor, and kind of like I said in my little application essay, it's officiating. The real question is why we officiate. Okay. Not many people understand why we do it, and it's really, in my perspective, it's to, especially for the swimming world, it's to give back to what I've been doing for years after years. To officiate is just basically, I don't know, it's a huge honor, and I'm a huge, and I love it.
Thank you, Bayley. Congratulations. Last year, we didn't have a chance to award the 2020 Vern Norris Award winner, Hugh Matson. This year, we want to give him an opportunity to speak to the group and tell how much this award means to him.
I would just like to really thank the MHSAA selection committee because, like I said, it was a great honor. I would also like to thank Birch Run because they were the one that got my name in there. So yeah, I'm very grateful for that. Well, of course, you know, this award is an awesome award because anytime you're associated with the name Vern Norris, that's pretty important because Vern was a legend in the Michigan High School Athletic Association, and he was well known for the fact that he was very good with officials. He was a good official himself, and he was not only a good official, I mean, known as a good official, and had knowledge of this just in the state of Michigan, but he was known nationally for his ability as an official. So it's important to me that because of Vern Norris. I was completely shocked because Birch Run put my name up. I had no idea that they had my name put up. And matter of fact, probably if I would have known, I would have said, don't do it. But it was a well-kept secret. And they actually contacted my family and asked, you know, for, you know, things about my career that they needed to know. And they always did this when I was away. Quite often I was away at a track meet. And they knew I'd be away, so they'd call then to find out information about me. Every time I leave for a meet, my wife says, have fun. And usually I go home and I can tell her that I did have fun, so I have fun. And you know, actually, my doctor has told me it's good. He said, don't quit. Hey, you know, I'm not exactly a spring chicken. So it's good for health, I think, to keep active, and maybe the athletes keep me active too and healthy. Officiating means to me that first of all, it's a hobby. I enjoy doing, you know, some guys have a hobby playing golf, and I enjoy teaching a lot. And when I retired as a teacher, I thought I'd like to give back a little bit to athletics. And I was a track coach, and so that was a natural thing for me to go into officiating. But officiating is teaching and working with kids and working with coaches and working with other officials, and I enjoy that. It's another way of, you know, sharing that experience.
Thanks, Hugh. Now on to this year's 2021 Vern Norris Award winner, Lou Clingman.
Well, basically, you know, Vern has always been a role model for a lot of us. You know, I knew Vern as a young official. He was the director in Lansing, and then later on he worked for the MHSAA and the Great Lakes and helped to get a lot of us into those on our college career. But outside of that, he was also a good, close friend. You know, he's a Rockford guy, and he was always concerned about the West Michigan guys, not to put us above everybody else in the state, but you know, just concerned with what was going on. And he also was a good mentor. You know, he'd come in and tell you what he saw you doing, and if he was something ready to tell you, if was something wrong, he'd tell you. And he was, you know, the kind of guy who was easy to work with, but you didn't want to get him upset because then he wasn't easy to work with. Yeah, but he was a good man, and to be named or given this award, looking at the people that got it ahead of me, you know, it's quite an honor. You know, I really appreciate the fact that, you know, that get to walk in the same shoes as Lyle Berry's and the other guys that were award winners in the past. When we started the mentor program, probably about 20 years ago, the concept was, you know, get a young kid in and, you know, help them get through, and people were pushing people through. They weren't helping the kids at all. And whereas what Vern would do is he would come to you and talk to you and, you know, tell you what you did wrong, what you did right. And so when I got involved in it, through the West Michigan Officials Association in basketball, you know, made sure that the kid you were mentoring, be it a young guy or a young gal, you'd get there and watch them work. Talk to them after the game, pat them on the back, kick them in the ass, you know, that kind of a thing. And then now most of what I'm doing is with track, which is trying to get more young individuals into the concept of officiating track and field, and showing them, the different ways to do things, but also letting them, get their feet wet and be able to help them out. And we've been pretty lucky around here. We've got about 2 or 3 new people a year, young people. Like right now, the track officials in Michigan looks like a geriatric society, and so the younger they are, the younger people get in, the better off we are. And the mentorship program is one that we've taken a real big hand in around here. Yeah, well, throughout the state actually, but there are a lot of guys around here too. And this was a direct relationship back to what Vern used to do. I love being with the kids. It's for the kids. That's why we're here. The camaraderie with the other professionals that I'm with, and just watch the successes that go on. My kids are all gone. They're all around the country. Grandkids around the country. So this is a good way to substitute for the kids that aren't here. And it's like my wife said, I married you for better or worse, but not for lunch. So go on, do a track meet or do a basketball game or something. If you think about it though, 50 years of officiating, there's a lot of guys that don't last that long. Well, they don't because they're not in the right business. And there's a lot of people in this area that are officiating, have been officiating, will be continue to officiate because they do it for the right reason. And I think that's the key to anybody that looks. If you're in it to win the Vern Norris Award, you're in it for the wrong reason. And if you're in it, like I said before, to make a lot of money, you're in it for the wrong reason. But luckily, I've been able to work with a lot of guys, a lot of ladies that have been in it for the right reason. That is, let's do it for the kids and do it for the sport.
Thanks, Lou. Now it's time to take a look back 20, 30, 40, 45, and 50 years to see what the world was like when you started officiating.
We start in 2001 for officials who got their start 20 years ago. Farmington Hills Harrison made its 15th football finals appearance, winning its 12th state title. Before closing, Harrison would appear in an MHSAA record 18 football finals and win a record 13 championships. 20 years ago, the iPod was released, as was the Xbox. Halo Combat Evolved has sold more than 5 million copies for the platform. On the big screen, Russell Crowe starred as Maximus in Gladiator, which took home the Oscar for Best Picture and Best Actor. But it was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone that was tops at the box office, bringing in nearly $1 billion worldwide. The most popular TV show was Friends. Season 8 started in mid-2001, and the show lasted 10 seasons. Tiger Woods won the 2001 Masters, completing the Tiger Slam by becoming the only person to ever win golf's 4 majors in a row. Tiger was the highest paid athlete that year, bringing in a tidy $65 million. The Arizona Diamondbacks defeated the New York Yankees in the 2001 World Series 4-3 in one of the best World Series ever. The Diamondbacks took the decisive Game 7 when Luis Gonzalez knocked in the game-winning run off Mariano Rivera. The series is also remembered for President George Bush's first pitch before Game 3, which came in New York just 7 weeks after the 9/11 terrorist attacks. The 2001 NFL season technically ended in 2002, but not without some controversy. Tom Brady's fumble, not a fumble, led his Patriots to a win over Oakland and eventually a Super Bowl title over St. Louis. Brady has gone on to win 6 more Super Bowls, and the tuck rule was eliminated in 2013. 1991 was when our officials with 30 years of service were just getting started. DOS for Dummies was released, the first in the 4 Dummies series that now has over 2,500 titles, but there's still no officiating for dummies. Desmond Howard won the 1991 Heisman Trophy, and even more improbably, helped lead Michigan to a blowout win over Ohio State. That same year, future Wolverine Jalen Rose helped lead Detroit Southwestern to a 2nd straight Class A title. His Prospectors beat Detroit Northern 77-63. Silence of the Lambs won the Oscar for Best Picture. 60 Minutes was the top TV show, and Terminator 2 brought in the most cash at the box office. The #1 song, Bryan Adams' Everything I Do It For You. The Detroit Pistons had their quest for a third straight NBA championship stopped by the Chicago Bulls and some guy named Air Jordan. Jordan seemed to be playing by his own set of rules on the court and almost always got a favorable whistle. The Detroit Lions have one playoff win during the Super Bowl era in their history, and that came 30 years ago. The Lions won the Central Division with a 12-4 record and then went on to beat the Dallas Cowboys in the divisional playoff round before losing to Washington in the NFC title game. Now for our officials who started 40 years ago. 1981 was the last time the NCAA men's basketball tournament was on NBC before switching over to CBS. And in '81, Indiana beat North Carolina to give Bobby Knight the second of his 3 career national championships. Of course, the highlight of Knight's career was getting to work with the recently retired John Johnson. On the gridiron, Escanaba was tops in Class A. After retiring as Eskimo head coach, Jerry Svengros spent 13 years with the MHSAA as associate director in charge of football. There was a royal wedding in 1981 as Prince Charles of Wales and Lady Diana Spencer wed. The wedding was watched on TV by more than 750 million people worldwide. Staying on TV, Dynasty and Hill Street Blues both debuted in 1981. On the silver screen, On Golden Pond won the Oscar for Best Picture, but the highest grossing film was Raiders of the Lost Ark. The #1 song was Betty Davis' Eyes. NASA's first space shuttle mission happened 40 years ago as Columbia spent 54.5 hours in space, orbiting the Earth 36 times. The first magazine dedicated to sports officials began publishing 45 years ago in 1976. There have been more than 500 issues of Referee to date, many times asking the same questions that fans scream at every game or match. The Apple Computer Company formed 45 years ago. Today it is worth north of $2 trillion. Sylvester Stallone starred in Rocky, which won the Oscar for Best Picture, was the highest grossing movie of the year, and spawned 5 sequels plus 2 more movies about the son of Apollo Creed. 45 years ago also saw the filming of the first Star Wars begin and the release of John Wayne's final movie, The Shootist. In 1976, Happy Days was the most popular TV show. Hey! Jack Nicklaus led the PGA Tour in earnings in 1976, bringing home a total of $266,439, which is about $1 million less than this guy won for finishing second at the Masters this year.
Wow.
Indiana finished the college basketball season undefeated, beating Michigan in the title game. No team since has gone through the entire season unbeaten. Tom Izzo helped lead Northern Michigan to an 18-8 record. As a player, Izzo was named team captain after walking on to the Wildcats program 2 years earlier. Closer to home, Jay Smith was a freshman at Mayo in 1976. He would leave 4 years later with 2,841 points, the most in Michigan high school basketball history, and he did all that with no three-point line. And 50 years ago, in 1971, Disney World opened. Apollo 14 landed on the moon. D.B. Cooper leapt from an airplane high above Oregon, never to be found, and the first Starbucks opened in Seattle. Friend of umpires everywhere, Billy Martin, guided the Detroit Tigers to a second-place finish in the AL East. Mickey Lolich won 25 games for the Tigers in 1971. Flint Northern, coached by Bill Frieder, captured the first of back-to-back Class A titles. The Dow Jones closed at 890. The average cost of a new house was just over $25,000, and a gallon of gas was just 40 cents.
Now, with a few words for all of our MHSAA official award winners, here's our Executive Director, Mark Ewell.
Hello. A beautiful day here at the MHSAA in a year that has been unlike any in our nearly 100-year history. We've talked about heroes an awful lot during the pandemic, and certainly our first responders and medical care providers have been at the very front of that list. In our world of school sports, there's been a number of people that have made things happen for kids this year during the most unusual and crazy times we've ever lived with. At the front of that group of thank yous has to be to our officials. There have been thousands of individuals that have stepped up in times of challenge, whether it be wearing a mask and dealing with some of the other pandemic requirements, but you've stepped up and you've been there so our kids can play the games that they love. There's never been a time where we want to say thank you more sincerely or more strongly to each of you that give back to school sports as an MHSAA registered official. On behalf of the entire staff and myself, congratulations to all of our award winners. The years of service are incredibly special to each and every one of us, and we thank you for all that you do to assist and to contribute to what we do for young people in our state. Enjoy your summer, and like all of us, we're going to keep our fingers crossed that next August things will look more normal than they have over the past year and a half. Thanks again for your service, and we appreciate you being part of the MHSAA family.